Hello and welcome to another Talking episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Hayden.
And today we're going to talk about the TMNT 2012 Season 2 Episode 13, Wormquake or the Manhattan Project, Part 1. So, what do you think about this episode, briefly?
Well, this episode was just crazy. Like, I'm still trying to just trying to process what I've seen. What I've seen today. It's crazy. We get to see new characters. We get to see new plots developing. We get to know about a bit more about Kurai's situation with her long forgotten father, Master Splinter. It is a lot to take in, and yeah, it was really like a huge shock to the system. Like, we're introducing new characters and vice versa. Really lots of information to take in, but a really good episode all in all.
You have to say that this episode, I do feel that this episode had a lot of really great moments in this episode, especially like a lot of good like characters as well. But I do feel that this episode in particular was very rushed and was trying to just like go through like plot points just to get to the next thing. I do feel the next episode just go at like a more steadier pace. So yeah. Okay, so for the beginning bit, we do get to see the turtles. They're fighting Kurai, Raza, and a few footbots. And Leo's trying to get Kurai to, sort of like come over to, like, the good side and tell her about Splinter. So, what do you think about that scene there?
That was a pretty interesting scene. We're jumping right into the action here. We're jumping right into the action. We get to see, Bradford again, which is pretty cool. Cool. Oh, just bit me tongue. Sorry, let me redo that. We got to see Kurai and the turtles being Kurai ambushing the turtles, and we get to see Fishface and Bradford again, which is pretty cool. Really like to see those characters a lot more. Especially Bradford, he's like super cool in my eyes. Like, his whole character, his whole ghoul creature look, it's just so cool to me. But carrying on, we got to see the fight, and of course Leo tried explaining to Kurai that Splinter's been lying to you, and you should trust us instead because your father is actually, well, our father as well. So yeah. It was a pretty interesting development, and it was a bit confusing in some parts because Kurai doesn't know, and the turtles know as well, and you're just trying to figure out like what's going to happen if she knows the truth. Is she going to be like enraged? Is she going to be like in shock? Like, no one knows what's going to happen until she accepts the truth, which is so cool in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, this scene here is one which I really wanted to enjoy because it's a fighting scene, and with fighting scenes you always want to love them because of the fighting scenes. But for some reason I just found like the opening to just be like okay for some reason. But I just had more questions about like what Leo did. So with this bit here, like I don't know, because I think that like it was good to see him trying to develop this storyline a bit more with them trying to get Kurai and her on Toad's side. But I just feel a little bit weird just because I haven't really done anything with this storyline in quite a while, so it feels weird for like all of a sudden Leo's just going straight into it. So that just feel a bit weird there. But then some other things, which I must admit I did find a little bit weird, was after the earthquake, there was the like tower thing. It dropped down. All I got to say to that is, how did Leo survive that? Because that should have easily killed him with all the bricks going down him. I guess the only thing that could have maybe made him survive was if he went into a shell, but I just found that to be so weird. And then also another thing which I do find really weird is the fact that Leo is telling Kurai about all these stuff about basically like her father, but yet the other Turtles don't know about this, and yet they somehow didn't hear about it. I just find that so weird.
Yeah, now that you say it out loud, it does seem a bit weird because I thought the turtles already knew about Kurai. But turns out it's only Leo that knows about Kurai's situation. And to be honest, like you said before, we haven't explored this storyline since, God, when was the last time I explored it? I can't remember. Probably like season 1. or like towards the end of season 1, perhaps.
I think this was explored at the beginning of, or it's episode 3. I remember like Spinner telling Leo about the story about Karai, but then episode 6 I didn't really do anything with it. So it's been a while.
Yeah, it definitely has been a while. But yeah, it did feel kind of weird and a bit rushed, to be honest with you. Like, they're immediately going back into this storyline. Like, I don't know why they haven't tried it before up until now. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm a bit uncertain of how they put this all together with like the Karai and all that sort of side of things. But also, going back to the Chimley falling onto Leo, how is Leo not dead? Like, I'm sorry, I know he's a mutant turtle, but come on, there is limits to this sort of thing.
Yeah, I just found it so weird that he was able to survive, but I think it's just gonna be one of those things.
Yeah. Unless his shell was made of titanium or vibranium or whatever material, I got no clue how he survived.
Yeah, he should have died.
Oh, straight up.
Oh, what a shame.
Mm.
Okay, so then going into the next bit, we do get to see Mossminter gathering up everyone into the room and telling about Cry, about how he lost her and stuff like that. So, what do you think about that scene there?
To be honest, it was alright. Like, as the audience, we already know the situation, so it was a rushed version of the story of how Shredder took Karai away from Master Splinter and raised her as his own. But yeah, it just felt weird that he's now telling them this story. Like, why didn't Splinter tell them this story beforehand, like before the situation? Because maybe it would have changed the outcome on different fights, and maybe the Turtles could have convinced her together that basically you're our sister. But to be honest, I would be in Karai's position. Like, if I was in her shoes and some 4 random Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles said, "Oh, you're my sister," I would have a hard time believing them as well.
Yeah, this seems so weird, but I must admit, in this scene here, it was a really weird one, just because, like, again, it just seemed really weird that Mossminter hasn't told him before, and it does seem like something which they should have maybe done a bit earlier, just so that in the opening scene they could have had maybe the other Turtles trying to convince Karai as well. But then the other thing which I must admit was so weird for them to do was basically them retelling Mossminter's story over again with the sort of like same images before. I just found that bit to be so weird for some reason.
Yeah, I do understand where that's coming from, but I guess they're just kind of like using it for like a recap of things. Like, it's been a while since we've explored this storyline, so maybe they're using the same images to prompt to us, the audience. It's like, okay, this is how it went down. Now we remember, and now we're all caught up. Maybe they did something like that to help us.
Yeah, well, this seems like really weird, just because like Mossminter, like, more than went over the exact same story he went over, like, I want to say, like, near the beginning of the show. The only new thing he had to say was basically, Christ, my daughter. That's literally all he had to say, and... But, so then going into the next scene, which I'm really interested to hear your opinions about, because we go into the next scene with Shredder coming back and Tiger Claw. So, what do you think about Tiger Claw?
To be honest, I was quite excited to hear about the new character that they're going to bring in, the new assassin that Shredder's brought from Asia, and I was thinking, like, who could they possibly bring in? Like, I'm not too sure. Maybe they, like, I don't know. I was excited to say the least, but when they brought in Tiger Claw, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a completely new character that we've never seen before. He's somehow from, like, Asia, and so I'm guessing there's mutants all across the world at this point. Like, we're going worldwide, international mutants, which is just crazy. And of course, the little thing that got me was the fact that there was a rumor to say that Tiger Claw was mutated by the Krang as a child, and that was a really cool little subtle thing that I picked up on, and that could be a huge storyline in itself, which is just really cool. But yeah, from that, seeing Tiger Claw, the assassin, was so cool. Like, thought I didn't think of anything different. Like, he's from Asia, he's a tiger. To be honest, I thought it was going to be a dragon because it was from Asia, but maybe, maybe there is a dragon mutant in Asia, but who knows? But yeah, seeing Tiger Claw was pretty cool to say the least.
Oh yeah, Claw, he's like he's one of these characters that like you can't explain why he's good, but he's just like a fan favorite one over like everyone loves him. He is one of the best characters which they introduced in 2012 show. And some interesting fun facts which I think you'll be quite happy to hear. So one is the fact that that this character was a character which the creator of the show created as a kid. So I think that's quite cool as how to put him in the show. And then also the stuff with about his childhood and stuff like that. But I actually explored that in a future episode, and it's interesting because of what they do in the episode and other characters which they do put in the episode.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's interesting, but they also did make a mistake with that bit as well because in that scene they say that basically Tokyo said that someone cut his tail and he used and he used the word oh god oh sorry so in that scene I used the wrong pronoun because he was saying that he's saying like a male character cut his tail. But like later in the season or that show, we find out who the character was, and it's actually a female. So I find like that like mess up there interesting. But yeah,
that's cool.
What do you think about Shredder returning?
Shredder's return was pretty cool. Like, we haven't seen Shredder in such a long time, and now seeing him back on his throne and in power again was pretty cool to say the least. But I was just so curious on what he was doing in Asia and what his plans were. Like, he always says that he has other businesses, organizations, enterprises in Japan and Asia, but what are those enterprises? That's what I want to know. Like, what is he doing in Asia? Like, what is his goal in Asia? Like, why is Asia so important to him, and why does he keep going to and from that place? Like, what's so important there that he has to leave?
Yeah, no, so with Shredder stuff, he doesn't really visit Asia too often in the show. He doesn't really have like many businesses stuff or anything like that over there. It's just that he was only going over there to like try and get like more like power and more like mutants to come over with him to New York to like fight the turtles. That was the only reason why I went over there. It wasn't like a foreign business type thing or anything like that. It's just getting more mutants.
Oh, so there are other mutants worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, I find that weird just because we've only like known characters in New York and I know that like there's a whole world of mutants and stuff like that. It sounds interesting, but when you like, but you know, like the budget on this show that and like how to reuse the same locations over and over again, it's a shame that like we don't go to explore those places. But yeah. Okay, so we're going into the next scene. We do get to see April and Casey, the fighting Krang as they're going through a portal. So what do you think about that scene there?
Seeing Casey and April go patrolling, that was pretty cool to see. I'm not gonna lie, it some of it was a bit of a cringe moment because you get to see the development of their relationship and how they like subtly do it. And Casey Jones, we all know at this point, is like head over heels for April. And of course, he always keeps saying to April, like, "Oh, where are we going on an actual date?" And of course, then when April says, "Oh, what's this then to you?" and you just see it, the relationship is starting to develop between those two, which is pretty cool. But of course, this just reminds me of Donnie's cringe phase, as I like to call it, all over again from season 1. And I don't know whether it's going to go down the same path or whether it's going to be different and bearable to watch, but I can't handle two like ongoing situationships right now. Like, 1, I can just handle. 2, yeah, no way.
Yeah, I mean, I found the relationship just being there. I mean, it wasn't really that bad. It's just asking a question. But the fight scene I thought was okay in a way. But my only question with that is that April starts the Krang body like quite near the Krang like alien thing. I'm just very surprised that she didn't cut the alien itself.
Yeah, That I'm not gonna lie, that would make sense. Like, but I guess they don't want to put it on there just in case of like PG sort of side of things, like cutting the Krang in half and all that.
Yeah. So then the next scene, we do get to see April and Casey take the portal down to the sewers, and the Turtles go through the portal with Casey and April. Now with this, I hate this scene so much, just because this scene feels like it's like one of these scenes that they had to put in there and rush it so much to the point where it doesn't really feel like the characters are actually being themselves, just rushing it, because you've got Raph, like Casey and Raph, they want to go straight through a bargain about who wants to go through it, and then Casey just pulls April through, or Raph jumps through, without even thinking about it. Donnie jumps through because of April, and Mikey and Leo just go through just because of all their characters. It's a really annoying scene just because it feels so rushed. What do you think about that scene though?
To be honest, it was a bit weird on how they immediately just thought to jump through it without even taking any precautions whatsoever. Like, they could have jumped through into a different dimension in which they couldn't breathe, or a giant lava pool, or anything else, but they didn't take no precautions whatsoever. And they didn't even think, oh, how are we going to get back if something were to happen? That's the only thing that I don't like about it. Like you said, it was quite rushed. There was no preparation. Like, I would suggest like tying a rope to one of them and then pull them out if need be. But no, they just dived headfirst into the unknown, and that was pretty stupid of them to do such a thing.
Yeah. So then the next scene we do get to see them looking through different portals, and what I've seen is cool, but we do get to see another version of the Turtles. What do you think about that scene?
This was actually like really cool to me. Like when I first saw the different dimensions, and then of course I saw the different version of the Turtles. I don't know what version they were though. I'm guessing from like the 90s perhaps.
Yeah, they were the original Turtles from the original cartoon from the 80s, 90s.
Oh wow, jeez.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seeing them and just seeing all the different dimensions that they could go to, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's a Turtleverse.
Oh yeah. The Turtleverse is really interesting for a few reasons, but I just don't do enough with the Turtleverse. It's an amazing thing, and there's a really great move on it, which they did actually do a crossover with the 2003 Turtles, and that version of Turtles which did get in the other universe, crossing over with the comic book version. It's a really amazing movie, and it's a shame that I don't do more of the Turtleverse. It's like, it's there, and they can make so much money and do so many cool things with it, but yeah, they just don't do anything with it, and but yeah, I mean, I must admit with the scene, I enjoyed it because it's like it's the other Turtles and all that sort of stuff, but I think there's also a part of me that's like a little bit disappointed because it's not 2003, but other than that, it's a really great scene, I can't deny that. So then going into the next scene, we do get to see the Turtles fighting the bird droid and some other Krangs. What do you think about that scene?
That was pretty cool. Seeing Dimension X for the first time. It looked a bit weird, but of course it's in a different dimension, so everything's gonna look weird to us. But yeah, seeing the Turtles fight the Krang, and seeing Casey and April fight as well, like April using her weapon, her steel blade fan or whatnot, and seeing Casey Jones go at it with the hockey pucks. It was pretty cool to see, and of course we're getting back introduced. We're introducing back the butt cannons to the I don't know, the
chainsaws.
Yeah, nipple. That's a thing that I thought we'd gone past, but no, nipple chainsaws are still a thing. But yeah, it was a pretty cool fight scene overall, but I don't really have too much to say for it because it was just a traditional fight scene. Of course, they got separated, which was pretty weird. Like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. They could go to a different dimension and they could get lost and they have to find their way back, and that could go over a few episodes, but yeah, I guess they had to like kind of rush it through just to make it all come together, which was a shame because I would have liked to see that. Like the Turtles split up and going through different dimensions and whatnot, exploring and trying to find their way back. That could have been a really cool storyline to develop.
Yeah, I mean, with this scene here, there was a lot of really cool moments in this one. I think that for the majority of this fight scene, I thought it was, like, okay, but I think there was, like, one, like, scene in particular that always stands out to me for this episode. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, overall for this episode, but, like, in this scene in particular, we do get Celia doing, like, the, like, flips, like, diving backwards, like, through the chainsaws. I thought that scene was the best part about this fight scene. Other than that, I thought this fight scene was cool, but that shot there, oh, that was amazing. Near perfect, I want to say.
That was a good one. That was a good move.
So yeah, then after that we do see them get separated. Let's quickly talk about the stuff with Donatello, April, and Casey, because there's not really so much to really say there. So they get captured and then go back to Earth, and they run off to see where to like the big like Krang hideout thing is. So we get to see the the space worm thing.
Space.
What do you think about that reveal there, with it being like the way that they get the mutagen?
To be honest, it was super weird. Like, it was, don't get me wrong, absolutely cool, but super weird that the Turtles have never actually found this out until now. Like, surely they would have explored every part and every inch of the sewers in New York, but never thought of going down the old, like, train lines. Which I just found weird, because it's just a huge place, and, of course, everything else has been going on, like with the earthquakes. But hey-ho, I can't complain. But yeah, seeing the mutagen and how it's produced by milking these space worms was really interesting to me, because for all this time I thought it was like a physical process. Like, they would add some different chemicals from their dimension, add them to ours in like this laboratory. But I never knew there was creatures that were actually producing this mutagen. Like, they were harvesting this mutagen from this alien creature, and just to see how it's done and to see why everything is happening because of those creatures was a pretty shocking development to make.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is like a really cool new adjustment or like new thing to the Total Universe, just because they don't really do anything with the mutagen like before and afterwards, with this scene like really exploring how it's all made and all that, which I do think that this is like a really interesting thing, and the way that it's done is yeah, again, another really interesting thing. And I don't know, I think that it's like a really great thing to add on to like the lore and history of the mutagen, because it never really gets explored in like any story. So I think it's like a new, it was just like a really nice surprise. But yeah, let's talk about the next scene, which I think we're gonna get uncomfortable talking with. The space worm bit with April and that bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna say, what the actual hell was that thing? Like, even I was like, what the hell is that? It's like a human face on this space worm. It looks like a child, and I'm thinking, what the hell is that thing? And to be honest, if I was in Casey's shoes at the time, I would be whacking the ever-living deuces out of it. Like, literally, I'd kill it with fire. That's what I would say. Just like kill it with fire, because that is just not right.
Yeah, but what do you think about the thing snuggling on her bum?
Oh, that
was the thing I was
yeah,
referring to.
Oh, that bit. Wait, I thought we was going to try and
There's no way
I don't
around
know what that was. I know. I thought we was just gonna let live and just let that thing go, but nope, we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, to be honest, I don't have too much to say for this, because it was just weird, and that the fact that it was a human face, like, on this alien creature, I didn't know what to say. I was like in awe, like I was speechless. I had no idea what to actually put together. Like, words could not describe on what that situation was like. I just couldn't. Like, why is there a human face on this thing? Is this a shapeshifter? Or just why the human face? Like, just why?
I mean, with the alien thing, I don't know, I didn't really think of it too much of like, oh no, it's a child face. That wasn't the part which I was like, oh no. the part that the alien was snuggling up on April, that was the weirdest part about it. It's just so weird. I mean, you know, I'd say for any person or like any like human character to be there, and the alien is snuggling on that bit of the body, it's just weird. I'd just say for like a female, that's extremely weird, but for a teenage girl, it is. Can I just move on?
Yes, please, because this is getting very, very awkward.
Okay. Okay. So moving on to the next scene is a nicer one. The Turtles versus Claw and Karai. Please start us off. Oh yeah.
Now this is where it gets interesting.
So
Now this is a scene that I've been waiting to talk about for ages. Like, I've just been sitting here, it's like, oh come on, let's get to this scene already, I want to talk about it. But yeah, basically this was so cool. Seeing Karai, Tiger Claw, and Master Splinter, may I say, wow, seeing him back again fighting was pretty cool. And I'm not gonna lie, how he got the message that the turtles were in trouble. What is the cheese phone? I've never heard of this phone until now. Like, it kind of reminded me of the bat signal, but it was the cheese phone instead. Like, please explain to me what that is.
In the shape of a cheese. That's literally all it is. I don't know what else to really say to you other than it's just a phone that looks like a cheese. Embrace it.
That's okay. No worries. But yeah, I found it pretty interesting. It kind of reminded me of the bat signal for Batman, but instead of like the signal in the sky, it's the cheese phone. It's like, oh my gosh, the cheese phone's going off. Something must have really bad happened to the turtles.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting scene. I'll just say that overall, like this whole fight scene here, it was just amazing. I just don't even know like where to begin. Okay. This was something we should bring up. When they come through the portal, Roughly and Mikey, Raz starts blaming Leo for some reason, and I find that to be so weird because he was the one who went through the portal first and like, oh no, Leo, it was all your fault. I find that to be so weird. But
yeah, that was. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
victim blaming.
You were the idiot that went through first. Like, why are you moaning at Leo because you're the idiot that went through it first?
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
But yeah, I must admit, overall, the fight scene between the Turtles and Tiger Claw, it was just so great, and I think this like shows the level of like how amazing this show can be, and just how great Tiger Claw is. And I don't know what to really say. I'm just gonna keep repeating myself over and over again. But yeah, the cheese phone was the cheese phone. But so what do you think about Splinter versus Tiger Claw?
Now that was cool. I just want to clarify how cool it was because they spoke. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they spoke Japanese to one another.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Hearing. Okay then. I didn't want to say like something completely different and get like hated on in the comments. So, but yeah, literally him and Master Splinter, that small interaction, that sentence in Japanese to say, like a rat always bites a tiger or a cat or something like that when he's cornered, and then of course when Master Splinter says, "Come and find out," then you know something's about to go down, and of course it did go down, and we got to see Master Splinter and Tiger Claw fight. But I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed in Tiger Claw because I was thinking he was going to be using more bladed weapons instead of the guns. And don't get me wrong, I love the guns. The weapons on Tiger Claw are amazing, but because he was from like Central Asia and all that side of things, I would thought he would be trained mostly in bladed weaponry instead of like firearms and all of that, which I just found a bit weird, but it still worked nonetheless. But I would have liked to see Tiger Claw and Master Splinter fight with like bladed weapons and all that sort of side of things, just to keep it like the Japanese theme of like the bladed weapons and the samurai and all that sort of side of things. But that's just my personal opinion about it.
I don't really know what to begin with this bit. With the Japanese bit, I found it to be like so cool. Like seeing like them talking a different language, it was like so cool, and you know that it was like gonna go down. Little fun facts about me. When I did first watch this episode, like near 10 years ago, this was the only bit of Japanese I actually learnt, and I'm ashamed to say this, but I've forgotten how to say it. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. But yeah, I must admit, this whole fight scene was just so great. I think it's like another one which you just can't put into words for how great it is, but it's just like too amazing to put into words. But it's, like, going off your point about like saying that about the weaponry and all that, I'd just say that it's like a little bit more interesting. Like Toe Claw can like have like a much like, he has a much bigger arsenal of weapons compared to like all the other characters who only have like one weapon. I do find it to be like really great that he's able to use like weapon, like sword, guns, his claws, jetpacks. I think that's like so cool that he has like so many weapons, and he does like use other weapons as well throughout this whole series. So like there is like a lot more bits for him to improve, but it's just so amazing for this fight scene. But yeah, Mossmancer gets drugged by Karai, and Karai's about to kill the turtles. Do you have anything to say about that last scene there?
I'm not gonna lie, I was like a bit surprised that Master Splinter got drugged and like tranquilized and all that. I completely wasn't expecting it at all. Like I didn't realize Karai was waiting in like the other towers, waiting to like hit it at the right moment, which is pretty cool to say the least. But I'm surprised that Master Splinter didn't sense it or whatnot, which is a bit annoying. But he's fighting like Tiger Claw, trying to worry about his son's life being thrown into a fiery furnace of death. So I can like let him slide with that one. Like, okay, you can see that coming because you're fighting Tiger Claw and trying to free your sons. I completely get that.
I mean, with this bit here, I mean, it's understandable why he wouldn't notice it just because it's such a small thing. It happened all at once. I can understand that, but it does seem a bit weird just because it's Master Splinter. But but with the bit where Toa's trying to convince Karai that, like, you know, like show like Splinter his like her father, I thought it was okay. But I think like for the ending where like you know that Karai's about to slash Toes, like it feels like one of those scenes where like you know that like it's not gonna happen, but yeah, they're like making it out to be like such a big thing, even though it's not, and a little bit disappointing, a little bit anticlimactic that like we just had an amazing battle, and now we know what's gonna happen next. Like, it's just so annoying.
Yeah, it does get a bit annoying. Like you're so invested into that particular scene and the build up towards that scene, and then just to say, "Oh, it's not going to happen anymore." It's like, God damn it! It's that feeling.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, oh, it's just so annoying. But yeah, what do you think about this episode overall?
Well, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was really interesting, a really interesting development of what's going on in the world, and understanding how widespread this mutagen is, and to see how it's produced, and just the whole idea of this world is just opening up even more, and it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. There's more stuff to worry about, there's more stuff to think about, and it's just crazy because as everyone knows, this is my first time watching this series and learning about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series and all that. So this is all new to me, and it's all quite interesting, and I just like how it's developing, like slowly and surely it's becoming a much bigger universe than it turns out to be. Like with the introduction of the Turtleverse, that's a major thing to think about now. Like there's so many more timelines, there's different worlds to think about. It is a ridiculous amount of information to take in. And as I'm talking now, it is still quite a lot to take in. Like, all this is happening is still quite a lot to take in. And hell, we've still got another half of this episode to go for carry on for next week. And I don't even know what's going to happen then. So, yeah, tune in for next week's episode.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, I mean, with this episode, like, it's annoying because this one in particular, I want to love and like because the second part, which I was do like a lot more, and I found it to be a lot better. But I think, I don't know, there's something about this episode that just feels so rushed for the first half. But the second half with Tiger Claw fighting all the turtles and Splinter, I think it's just amazing. But I think that this episode, I feel, or like this whole story feels through that it should be like a 3-part story, so that this first episode could have had a lot longer to explore the portals and stuff like that. But I mean, it is what it is, but it's still great nonetheless. But yeah, oh god. So okay, yeah. So then going into the next bit, you want to hear some comments now?
Let's hear it.
So surprisingly, there wasn't really that many, but I got a feeling that maybe people are going to be talking about it for next week's one. So Ethan Adelo 49778, they put, I enjoyed this episode. Alfred Jacum 2027, they put, I like Claw, but the Don Casey April story felt weird. A little.
A little bit, yeah. I can see why you could feel that awkwardness there.
And then for the last ones on Reddit, we got Shantekani put, it was the start of a mid-season 2-parter, so of course there are a few criticisms here and there, but it was fairly solid for being the first. Yeah, I mean, I think that for like the first part, it does a decent job, but it could be a lot better. Okay, so here's some trivia now.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. Okay, so surprisingly, there's actually a lot of trivia. Okay, so for the title, using television listings for the episode, as well as on Nick.com, it was Wormquake. However, both Part 1 and Part 2, the show title is the Manhattan Project, so that's a bit interesting. The Manhattan Project was also the research name for Atomic Bomb, but I was using Model 2, yikes. And it's also the title for one of the Timothy NES games. So this episode was released a week early on March 2nd, 2014, and official distributors for the series include Nick.com. Oh, this is quite interesting, which I don't know if you noticed this, but do you notice the intro's changed?
Yeah, I did. It was a subtle change, but you could still know it was there. Was it the one with the grappling guns, perhaps?
Oh, there's a lot more than that. Okay, so one of the scenes which did change was the scene where they show off all the villains. So the old intro, it had Krang Prime, Miss Campbell, Snakeweed, Spider-Bites, Neutralizer, Rat King, Fishface, Dog Pound, Shredder, and Karai. But now in the new intro, it has Krang Prime, Squirrenoid, Slash, Midget Man, Neutralizer, Raza, Fishface, Tiger Claw, Shredder, Karai, which is interesting. And then also for the bit which we were just talking about with the grappling bit, so for the old one, it was Dr. Lowood, the Megatron, the Manhole cover, Mikey was Spin Kick 2 for Krang soldiers, Leonardo was Mikey should Spin Kick 2 Krang droids, Leonardo slash Krang droid through, I thought it was Foot Sword Mikey kicked, but either way, with the new intro, the told us grapple hook onto the walls, and yeah. Okay, and then for the next bit, when Gang was tossed through the portal to Dimension X, the syringe shot was reversed as April's bang to a swung to a left side instead of the right side. Okay. Okay, so when the next, in the scene where Spencer answers Leo's call on Cheese phone, it was a parody of the Bat phone that was used in the Adam West Batman show. That's quite cool.
Oh yeah.
And a sneak peek preview for this episode in 2013 at New York Comic Con. Razar uses his spikes throwing ability for the first and only time, which is a little bit disappointing. Okay, and then the next bit is the part. Oh, this is quite interesting. So this is the last time for like a 2-part episode to say to be continued, which I must admit is weird, just because there are like other episodes like 2-parters, but they don't have it. I never noticed that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it was Japanese that Tiger Claw spoke to Splinter. And they do have it on here with all these signs, or the Japanese language. I'm not going to try to try and say it. Then there were some errors. So Leonardo's voice sounds different when he tells Karai, your real name is Miwa. Tiger Claw tells Karai it was he who cut the tail off. Well, actually, it was another character called Alapex, who is a fox. Very cool character, which is not really much of a spoiler, just because you'll forget about it when we actually watch the episode, because we'll be watching in like a few years' time. So, yeah.
Okay then.
Okay, so then for the characters, really interesting because we actually have a character or a person to look over this time. So April was voiced by Mae Whitman, Casey voiced by Josh Pear, Donatello voiced by April Paulson, Cry voiced by Kelly Hu, the Krang voiced by Noah North, Lino voiced by Jason Biggs, Michelangelo voiced by Greg Sipes, Ravi voiced by Sean Asantine, Spencer voiced by Hoon Lee, Baxter voiced by Phil Lamar, Carlos Chang or Brian Gumbe voiced by Jim Meskim, Fishface voiced by Kristen Lands, Raza voiced by Clancy Brown, and Triller voiced by Kel McRichson. So then, the person who voiced Tideclaw is Eric Bowser, and he has a really interesting IMDb page because he also went on later to voice Leonardo in the Batman vs TMNT movie, Splinter in the Splinter in the Rise of TMNT TV show and movie. He also does the voice for Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny. It's a really interesting person to look into, as he's like so talented with his people's out of voice.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, there's been like quite a lot of stuff which I'm still like quite surprised at because, well, I don't know what to say because he's done so many voices and also like done so many other voices in the show as well, which is like really cool. But yeah, he's done like so many other voices he's known for is the big boys from DuckTales, White Pantra, Rudolph Venera from El Tigre, Adventures on Manny, Fruit from the Fairly Odd Parents, Patch from Bunkler, no I said that wrong. He's done so many voices from Looney Tunes such as Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Tweety, Marvin the Martin.
Wow.
Yeah. He's done all the voices for the Banana Splits, except from the Snarky the Elephant. So yeah, he's a very talented person. Yeah. Oh, oh my god! I just realised it. So on the trivia page for him, it said that he once dressed up as Tideclaw for a recording session. I don't even know what to really say to that. That's amazing. I'm completely going to send you the image now. It's amazing what he looks like as Tideclaw. But yeah, he's a very talented actor.
Wow.
And by this, he's very committed to the role.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's
like he's all.
cosplay.
Is that cosplay or is that
I
like?
hope so, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cosplay, isn't it? I thought it was hand drawn for a sec, but nah. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's what makes it better, though. When actors are passionate about the role that they play, they make the show 10 times more better.
Very committed, and he's one of the best actors which they and did have on the show. Like so talented, and like I'm not trying to say all the other actors on the show are bad or anything, but like some actors are only here because they're famous, but some actors are here because they are really good at the job. And with like him, he's a really great one. Clancy Brown is a really great one, as well as Phil Lamar. Like they've done so many voices and like do like different voices in that same show with different characters, and yeah, he is one of the best ones. Yeah. Okay, so going into for next week's one, it's called the Manhattan Project Part 2. So what do you think is going to happen in that episode?
Well, it's hard to say really. I don't know how it can top this part of the episode, because to be honest, I'm still trying to process on what just happened on the first part of this episode. I don't even know what's going to happen in the next part. We had the Turtleverse, we had these giant worms, a worm with a baby face, which is really freaky, and the Karai situation. I don't know how they can top it, to be honest. I really don't know what's going to happen because the amount of stuff that's just happened now, I doubt that they could try and
it'll
top
be
it up again.
interesting just because just because like stuff we've seen with Tire Claw, I just can't wait to see how it all plays out. Especially like hear your reaction to like some bits. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say about this episode, or is it all done with this one?
To be honest, I'm done with everything. I think I've said that everything that I've wanted to say. Yeah, I think I'm done for this part of the episode.
Okay, well, yeah, if you want to go onto the podcast, you can leave a comment on Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, if it's a text message or a voice message. But, yeah, I've been your host, Teddy.
And I've been Hayden.
And we'll see you soon. Goodbye, yo. Bye.
Bye.